It's been 1 month since the return to Verdansk, and I've got a lot to say. Because we've had our times that have been full of highs. No!
I thought I got RPG.
Don't waste your RPG, you're already returned to the lobby.
And one or two lows.
My snapshot.
Did some damage on the far guy, one's close. Oh, hello?
I'm lagged. No way.
too.
No.
Hey, what's my
way,
internet
man.
though? W boys.
Come on, we were kind of cooking.
My, I was
were kinda cooking.
absolutely cooking.
That felt like a good match. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
like many kills.
This
but-
was the.
Oh, what's happening to me?
You guys see
Limping
this?
like a
Look at
kangaroo.
this. I'm on a 10 bomb.
It's
I'm
like,
on a 10 bomb
kangaroos in
carrying
there,
these
let's go.
idiots.
are they getting beat off
my
at the
my
same
friends.
time since yesterday was same time?
Boing, boing.
Overall, though, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with this new Warzone, this return to the original. But I'm worried that we're starting to go back to that chaotic mess that Warzone has turned into time and time again. And I'm curious of what you guys think about it. So let's talk the state of Warzone 1 month later. On April 3rd, Warzone 3 re-released with the return of Verdansk. As I mentioned at the time, I was not really expecting this update to be good at all. I hadn't even played Warzone for 3 months. Once Black Ops 6 came out and they did that integration into Warzone, it destroyed so much of this game. Not even just like gameplay-wise and omnidirectional movement. That's a whole different topic. I'm just even talking about the bugs that were introduced. And that's just as of late. Really, for the last couple of years, Warzone has gone through bad state after bad state. And really, it has not been the same since we left Verdansk back in 2021. And I think more of us have now seen this and realized it with this re-release. Because I was very pleasantly surprised when I logged on to try the new Verdansk on update day. Sniping was back. The HDR felt insane. The new movement, at least reducing its speed, felt better. It gave you some new mechanics to utilize without having to constantly slide cancel everywhere like you did back in the day. The mantling and just traversing the map, grabbing onto ledges that you wanted to, all felt way better than it even did back then as well. Although I am still accidentally diving or sliding into places when I'm plating and I can't cancel that are quite annoying. It would be nice if we at least had an option to turn that off. Nonetheless, even being able to pull out your knife, I like a lot of the movement improvements they've made. On top of all of the small quality of life things, the buying back your squads quickly feels great. The death feed breakdown, appreciated. Attachments showing on inspect, although it doesn't work on every gun, is very nice. And the map was really everything that we remembered. The long line of sights, the clear visibility, and graphically, it felt like the game was so much more impressive, especially coming off Urzikstan, which got like a huge graphical downgrade when Black Ops 6 released for some reason. And even on the launch, sound was good. Now, still, this game has problems with it, but if you didn't play some of the other updates where they ruined sound, man, we had a pretty much full package here off of the rip. Couple bugs, but nothing as game-breaking. Well, we'll get to some of that. And what was even crazier is it felt like everybody was coming back to the game. I've had so many people online, whether I've been running some duos, which honestly has felt some of the best, trios, even quads, and it really felt like we're playing a battle royale again. You guys have probably heard me talk about this, and everybody, it's like no longer just constant nonstop respawns, only one gulag, and you need to be the last person alive. Use some strategy here. And there are definitely plenty of more criticisms, disconnects, stability issues, low tick rate servers, some people complaining about the fact that there are even one-shot snipers in the game, which of course is crazy to me, but that's because I think we actually need more sniper buffs. We need other sniper options besides just running the HDR every single game. We need to make the Car 98 one-shots. SPR definitely needs to be one-shot. That's already in the game. Make it so we have some better options between them. I think there's always the complaint that you have so much to level up and to unlock in this game, especially if you're a returning player or new player, there's not a great catch-up mechanic, so there is a lot of grinding you have to go through. Of course, the complaints of being able to just purchase items from the store, like, yeah, these guys are still definitely gonna, they're using all their tricks to make their money. But in a whole, Warzone, I think especially off the launch, in a phenomenal shape. I had the game that I loved back again, fully back in rotation, but I had some worries about the future, and you guys heard me talking about this a lot if you watched any of the streams, and sure enough, we've got the Season 3 Reloaded release, where we got to start realizing some of those things, didn't we? While I was busy playing the, I gotta say, actually incredible release, or early access for Ark Raiders, seriously, check out my video on this game. It is really something special, especially if you played DMZ or were interested in any extraction shooters. Activision released Season 3 Reloaded for Black Ops 6 and Warzone. I didn't even play the first day that it came out. Apparently, there was even more issues on that first one, but nonetheless, they added ranked. They opened up the train station. They added back the actual train that goes around the map with the intel missions that you can infinitely do. Some new guns, quality of life changes, like zip lines are now placed around the map. Not the redeploys, but just zips to get additional routes on top of large buildings, like on airport. They have ascenders on 3 different points there now, where previously you could only fly up with a helicopter. And on paper, I think it sounds like a pretty average Warzone update. I've mentioned time and time again, POI updates on the main map, fantastic. Gives us more to do and see. Seeing train station opened and even the train coming back, great, awesome. However, this introduced so many small issues that there's no way this update was even worth them releasing, in my opinion. It felt like we were reliving the past in terms of all of the stability and everything. It's almost like all of the updates break everything, and having that Verdansk update was the anomaly. Like, having a good working update was just unbelievable. That once in a lifetime, maybe once every 3 years experience that we're gonna get. And I don't think this was necessarily even super gameplay breaking, but the number of times that my game has now been crashing, and even if it isn't my game crashing itself, but just the server crashing, disconnecting, you finally start getting your come up, and then it's just boom, whole game's over, go restart. Seemingly happening more in squads, and I've had so many people come by the stream. You guys tell me, have you been crashing more this reload? I imagine we'll see a lot of those comments. I've seen plenty of responses to posts on X about it. I've also seen a lot of people complaining about input delay on mouse and keyboard, which of course I also play on. But to me, it's really the hit reg that seems like that's where the biggest disconnect is. You put the crosshair right on, click. I've watched back clips and it just, where did the bullet go? But the biggest disappearing act that is driving everybody, I think, insane is you take a dead plate. You take a plate that doesn't actually register. So you're sitting there for extra long. Not always, but every time it really counts. You're trying to take a plate. It doesn't go in, doesn't heal you. You're just locked. On top of that, every once in a while, you're trying to res your teammate, and the res time is like tripled. So you're just sitting there. You can't save yourself from a precision airstrike. It's just totally random when these things are occurring, and you're screwed. Ruins your whole game. There was also a major exploit where you could grab your loadout weapons at the start of the game by dropping it in the pregame lobby, landing on it. This was a glitch we already had in the game that they had fixed a long time ago. Back at it again. Extra loadout boxes kept dropping everywhere off of kills, because even if you didn't have it, it still dropped whatever you last had. Now, as of recording it, those last two I mentioned have been fixed, but I'm still dead plating, still slow resing teammates. And when you just keep beating your head against a wall with unsatisfactory nuisances, it's going to make you not want to play the game at all. And when you don't play the game at all for a little while, now you're disconnected, you're on to the next thing. And there's no reason to come back. You had the opportunity, Call of Duty, to bring everybody back, and you brought them back, and now you're pushing them away again. Which is why I'm saying I feel like it would have been better if we just kept what we had. We added a couple of new things, and so much is broken. I know they added a ton of Easter eggs, too. I haven't even had the chance to do them all. And honestly, I don't even really care about them because the core is broken. We need the core. And I want to say this is not going to be indicative of the future of the game, but really, it's like I said at the beginning, it's flipped. This is the status quo for the game. The rarity is what we had in the last one. And we don't need to go much further than them also adding ranked to the game, which also, as I'm recording this, they've already removed from the game because it wasn't even tracking skill rating. There was so many problems in ranked that they just said, forget it, we're pulling the whole thing. It's crazy. So, where does Warzone need to go from here? It's obvious to me that the game cannot continue like this. If anything, I'm glad that we had this incredible month on the game with the buddies, everybody coming back, all the hype and gas around the game. It's been so much fun, man. I really loved it, and that's why I try to make the most of it. I spent so much time on that HDR, hitting headshots, getting some CO videos done. Like, man, it was great. But I do think we're going to start seeing a lot of people fall off at this point. I even saw Tactical Brit tweeted this out. I said it before and I'll say it again. Servers, anti-cheat, aim assist, audio. Until these 4 things get better and challenge the reputation Call of Duty has, it's never going to see any growth. And you can see the overall player count of Call of Duty, at least from this report, is going down. And that's despite it now even being available on Game Pass. And while I do think it is an incredibly large audience, I think a lot of people are just not going to change as a whole. They'll continue to grind it out to the end of time. I'm probably still going to be one of those on for a very long time. But fortunately for me, at least, I play a ton of other games. And I think I always say this, competition is one of the biggest factors. End of year, at least from all the leaks and everything that we've seen, it's theorized Battlefield's going to try and take on Call of Duty here. I know there is a lot of people that are looking for this same type of experience, but in something better. There is at least some hope there, where pretty much every other game is going down that road of making an extraction shooter and trying to get onto the next wave. There is still a lot of us that like battle royales as a whole, and I guess those numbers also are talking about the multiplayer side of thing, which muddies the water on a lot of it, but nonetheless, where do we go from here? I mentioned my grand idea of Warzone splitting from Call of Duty in a full video that I'll pop in the description, but it's evident to me that Warzone needs not only the simple fixes, but bigger fixes, especially if this is going to continue to survive into the long term, because we're already in May. We're only a couple months before the next Call of Duty comes out. And we're going to have a full implementation again, I would imagine, into this new Warzone. We might be doing wall running here, at least from what some of the leaks say. This is gonna get pretty broken if this is the state of the game already, you know? And it doesn't look like we're getting any closer to any of the stability. It's like everything is just so band-aided together when they've said that we've redone like the base of it. Like they make it seem like this is the new iteration that we're going to be building on and everything's going to be stable and we're going to be building from there, but it's always just sand, it feels like, that they're building on. So I can't trust them when they say any of that, because it's never really been like it. This was their real first test, the month-in season reload, and here we are. Every update and addition, something breaks, and new exploits like the current pregame loadout glitch always pop up. I'm sure we're going to get another blueprint bug coming in soon here, but I would absolutely love to be proven wrong. But you guys tell me, have you experienced other glitches? Obviously, I didn't mention everything here. Is there anything I didn't mention you've seen? Maybe you can argue, okay, this is just the reload. Season 2, that's going to be the real test. I'll be here. I'll check it out. Unless Ark Raiders comes out, I might be playing that. A couple other games I'm looking forward to. We'll see. That's it for this one, though. Thanks so much for watching. Stoneman64, over and out.